Welcome back to the Patrick Lane Show, where we talk about personal finance, investing, and real estate. And we're going to compare and contrast the stocks of GameStop versus Rocket Mortgage companies. Before we get started, do me a favor, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, and be sure to ring the notification bell because it really helps to grow the channel. Hopefully you'll get some good information in the future. Over the past couple of days, what has happened with GameStop versus what has happened with Rocket Mortgage? Well, as we all know, GameStop is in the middle of this tail end of their short squeeze, which has kind of turned into a gamma squeeze that we talked about on another video. And the price has gone up. It had sort of settled out at around $50. Then it spiked in the last few days, and it's up over $100, and actually has made some pretty good steady gains over the last few days. Not the wild spikes that we saw before where it went up to $483, but it has behaved like a steady growth improvement stock. Rocket Mortgage Companies was down in the 20s, or even below the 20s in the last few days, and all of a sudden has become a WallStreet Bets favorite and has jumped up in the last 2 or 3 days. And, you know, yesterday it was up almost double of what it was at the beginning of the week, and today it has trailed off and it's back down double-digit percent-wise, back down in the 20s on share price. Which one of these is a better investment? Should we invest in both? Should we invest in neither? Should we just use them as speculative plays and maybe day trade? I don't know, but we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between the companies and the psychology of investing in one versus the other, and why maybe you invest in GameStop and not in Rocket, and vice versa, why you might invest in Rocket and not in GameStop. We know the story of GameStop, right? It is a turnaround play. Back in the summer, it was almost written off as a dying company. Everybody expected it to go bankrupt. Then through some moves by an investor, Ryan Cohen, he got, who was famous for founding Chewy, the online pet supply retailer. He was able to get several people on the board who are focused on turning GameStop around from a brick and mortar into a combined brick and mortar and mostly focused on digital retailing space. Of course, it is mainly a gaming retailer, but it also sells the accessories for gaming. It also sells the boxes themselves, the platforms, the consoles, the chairs, the desks, the lights, and now they're starting to sell the computer and PC version of the game hardware. So if you need to play a game on a computer, you can purchase that from GameStop as well. And so you can start to see this transition from the brick and mortar into the digital space because they're offering more products online. Now, it also helps that Ryan Cohen was able to get 3 people on the board with him who come from other spaces. It also helps that they've hired a chief technology officer who came from Amazon as a background. So obviously, if you're in technology and internet focused retailing, Amazon as a background is someone who's really going to help. And it also is a point of emphasis that just in the last week or so, their chief financial officer was replaced or agreed to resign sometime in March, and the person they're looking for to replace him has to be able to be focused on, have the skills and abilities to help them transition to a digital e-commerce giant in the retail space. And so that is the story arc for GameStop. They're trying to transition from brick and mortar retailer where they were, frankly, they were taking a beating because all foot traffic for retail was down. And then with the pandemic, their traffic certainly was down. And we compare that to the story of Rocket Mortgage. Now, Rocket Mortgage has been around for a long time. They were started back in the 80s, and they've slowly built themselves into the #1 mortgage lender in the country. When you see all the commercials for the sporting events, there's always a Quicken Loans or Rocket Mortgage commercial. And let me just say, from somebody who does a lot of real estate closings and practice in my law practice is a lot of real estate, investing wise, a lot of real estate, then what I see is a lot of people using Quicken and Rocket Mortgage to do their refinances and purchase. From just a sort of a ground level view, I have watched the growth of Quicken Loans and now Rocket Mortgage over the years, and it has been exponential. That if it's a Rocket Mortgage, the documents are going to be concise. There's going to be less documents to deal with because they've got everything done digitally up front, and there's going to be fewer mistakes. And so what that tells me is that Rocket has its process down pat. They have a process that they can follow from start to finish. Everybody who works on that loan knows exactly what they're doing, and that's what makes them the #1 lender in the space. And when you hear Dan Gilbert or Jay Farner talk about what differentiates them from other lenders, it is the technology and the workflow that really differentiates them. And you can understand that when you listen to them talk about how rates going up or rates going down doesn't really factor into them either being profitable or losing money, because they are so efficient in their technology and their process that they're able to be profitable either way. When rates go up, when rates go down, they're still profitable. So if I'm looking at the differences between a GameStop stock purchase and what GameStop is doing in the market compared to a Rocket Mortgage stock price and what Rocket Mortgage is doing in the market, what I see is that GameStop would be a purely speculative turnaround play. Now, we know the short squeeze is involved, we know the gamma squeeze is involved, so we can certainly take advantage of that and try to make money in the short term, right? But if we're looking at it as a long-term hold, which I know a lot of diamond hand people out there are looking at exactly that, a long-term turnaround, that's exactly what it is. You're hoping, or we're hoping, to get in at the depressed rate, the depressed price, and to enjoy the appreciation, the rise in that stock price over years as it turns around and becomes a good company in the future that is valuable and has plenty of revenue. Contrast that with a Rocket Mortgage, which quite frankly has been a long-term hold ever since it went public 6 months ago. That's a stock that was immediately valuable, frankly undervalued when it came to market, and has been that way ever since. And it's only recently that people are realizing that the stock is valuable, the company is valuable, it has its process in line, and frankly, it should be priced higher than what it is now. Now, of course, there's all the background things that we've seen on WallStreet Bets about Rocket Mortgage lately. And they're all, you can go look at the due diligence on WallStreet Bets, but it makes sense, right? That the price is going up. There is a higher short percentage. It's in the 30s and 40s, depending on the day, for Rocket Mortgage. The founders and their spouses still own quite a bit of the stock. Company insiders still own quite a bit of the stock. So when we see that short percentage, we deduct those out, and we know that the short percentage, the short shares to the actual float is higher than that 40%. So it looks like that's another squeeze opportunity. But the underlying fundamentals of the company are good right now. They're making money right now. They're profitable right now. And they're going to show it because they've announced that they're going to pay a special dividend next week in the middle of March to people who own shares. And so you typically wouldn't pay a dividend if you're not doing okay as a company. So the differences, as I see, between GameStop and Rocket Mortgage are that GameStop is a future bet. We're betting that in the future, we're investing because we think that in the future, it is going to be worth more than it is today. The turnaround play. And the contrasting that with the Rocket Mortgage position right now is a good position because the company historically has been good, and we think that trend will continue, and it's undervalued. So you have one that might be overvalued in GameStop based on the revenue, but we are taking the risk that in the future it's going to be worth what we're paying today. And on Rocket Mortgage, we're saying in the past this has been a profitable company and we think it will continue as it is or get better in the future. And so we think it's undervalued today and will go up in the future. So those are the differences. Frankly, I think both of them are good investments. Now keep in mind, I'm not a stock guy. I'm not your professional stock advisor, investment advisor. I'm just some guy on YouTube, and I like the stock, and I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I'm looking at GameStop as a future play, and I'm looking at Rocket Mortgage as a value play for today. So do me a favor, tell me down in the comments what you think. Do you think both GameStop and Rocket Mortgage are going to go to the moon? Or do you think one is going to go to the moon and the other one is not? Or vice versa? Which one's it going to be? Do you think that it's hilarious that the people on CNBC think the only reason that Rocket is going up in the last few days is because people on WallStreet Bets are too unsophisticated to know that a rocket emoji is not Rocket Mortgage Company? That's what they were saying today. Or do you think that both companies are companies that we can invest in for different reasons but get to the same result? So let me know down in the comments what you think. And thanks again for taking a look at the video today. Do me a favor, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell. And if you found this educational or entertaining, do me a favor and share it to one of your friends. We're trying to get the message out that we're out here talking about stocks and real estate investing and personal finance. And we'll see you in the next video.